Has any of you just ever wanted to just like try that anime expression like you see you just like you ever try that? No, just me? Oh. How's it going everyone? Dan here and welcome to another vlog. A little bit of an interesting discussion I wanted to talk about today. Not even nothing bad, just like I wanted to speak about MMOs and like how they're not on a channel anymore and pretty much why we really haven't even started playing another MMO. But it's kind of weird this vlog I'm recording at like 5 in the morning because like I said I freaking went to sleep yesterday for a nap at 6 p.m. and I woke back up at 1 a.m. and I'm like, well, that's not a nap, it's basically sleeping. And I tried to go back to sleep and I woke back up at 3 a.m. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna get up. And while I was getting, basically, doing the morning routine, shower and all that nonsense, I came across this subject that I kind of wanted to talk about, which is about the MMOs and where they are at this time and why I'm not really playing one, or I'm like playing a multitude of them and not really getting, grasped into the gameplay, so to say, or committing, I guess is a better word. And there's lots of reasons, really. I mean, it all ranges from just not being able to commit because it's not interesting enough. I usually try to play, MMOs with the guys. We all test out a bunch of games, and not really everyone gets the same interest. But I mean, a few of them really do at least try to play them. We get at least a little bit of interest. But it's not even because of that either. Really, I feel like the main reason we don't play any MMOs anymore, at least as of yet, is because of progression and what progression does, as a player, So if you don't know me, in the past I've played really two main MMOs that, were ones that I played for a long period of time. One is Mobby, the other one's RuneScape. RuneScape I played before Mobby, like, for 2 or 3 years straight, back, way back, like in, I want to say like 03, 02, like it's way back then. And then when Mobby came out, I started playing it for, the longest time. I don't know how long that was, like maybe 5-6 years, I can't really tell. But either way, both of those games had something in common that kept me as a player personally interested in continuing playing the game, and that's progression. Being able to see progression and the effect it has on a player, or just me in general, is progression's a good thing when you can see it happening. Let's take RuneScape for example. RuneScape, had so many skills, right? And 7 of them were focused on combat, and the rest of them were just like utility slash like other life skills that you really didn't need, but you had to raise them for other requirements like quests and etc. And the thing is with RuneScape, that each level was important no matter what. Each level felt like you earned something, and you could visually see your progression. You can set a goal, whether it's like a quest requirement or you just want to get to that certain skill level because it allows you to do something new in the game. There's progression there, and that's why that game was so, I guess addicting is not really the right word to use there, but that's why that game was so much fun for me, because not only could I progress towards a goal, which was either just trying to get to a higher level or trying to do this quest to unlock this equipment to do this, and there's just lots of things that RuneScape did right, and that's why I played it for so long. And seeing the progression go on and on and on, and it coming at a decent pace as well. The leveling pace wasn't fast all the time, and it wasn't slow all the time either. Like the first 30-40 levels are fine, and then like 40 through 70 is like, okay, it's getting a little bit grindy but not terrible, and then 70 plus is where the grind sets in. It came at a good pace that it didn't feel like a time sink that was wasted. After you spent so much time on the skill and you finally got to where you wanted to go, you felt that sense of progression, and you felt like, oh my god, that's good. I'm finally here. It feels good. It's a good feeling. It's not really, I can't really describe it more than it's just a good feeling, And then let's take Mobby for example, because you guys know Mobby, all those skills. Again, and the thing with Mobby is you could have played it so many different ways. You didn't even have to focus on combat like most of us, typical MMOs going into Mobby played it, just focusing on the combat area and not really the outside social aspect, even though, they kind of mixed in the same. But besides the point, there were so many ways that you could play Mabby, and there was still progression. Whether you based on combat, where getting a skill rank to a certain point maybe gave you a title, maybe gave you access to a different skill, like, because back then I think you had to have a certain rank in Smash or something to get Windmill. I don't really remember how it worked, honestly, but there was just so many things you could do, and back then the progression in Mobby was there, and getting to a certain rank in a skill gave you more benefits, and you could see that as you ranked up every skill. I feel like what's important is being able to see your progression build out in front of you, and that's the thing that a lot of MMOs nowadays, you don't really see that well, or they're covered up by the game's immersive gameplay, but all of a sudden, like, you're realizing that your progression isn't even there until the end game. I feel like games like Mobby and RuneScape are done well because you still see progress, and you're still, your equipment that you have all the way up to the end game is important. In a lot of MMOs nowadays, the equipment you get in the early game is just straight garbage. The equipment you get mid game is straight garbage. Honestly, the equipment you get anywhere, ever is just garbage until the end game. And I'm not saying that's a terrible idea, because that's how games go. That's how level-based games go. But with these two games, you having equipment at any time in the game was ideal, because it's equipment. It's not the best equipment, but it's equipment that'll get you by. And it's kind of off track, because a lot of the MMOs nowadays, basically, the equipment doesn't matter. Literally, the game has no sense of any gameplay at all besides get to the level cap, and then that's where the game begins. And you can think about that and like say, okay, well, doesn't that apply to every game? Yes and no, really. But I feel like when it's that type of game, when it's just quest and grind, or grind and grind, or whatever you gotta do to get to the level cap, there's no progression there besides just watching your EXP bar go across the screen however many times the cap is, and that's not fun, The reason we stuck to Mobby, and the reason I stuck to RuneScape, or I guess a lot of people stuck to RuneScape, was because it was fun to level up in those games. It was fun in RuneScape to get to a goal and then finally be able to do this or wield this weapon, in the sense of wielding it and like, oh yeah, this is awesome, I'm doing more damage now. Or in Mobby, where you leveled to like level 50, and this is kind of where another reason why Mobby was fun, and kind of that grasping concept, was the fact that you had the rebirth. I guess you didn't have to, but you could rebirth and reset your levels to get more AP, and then rank up the skills that you were still working on. So again, you could see that progression. And by the way, I'm gonna be saying progression a lot, I guess, but it's just, I feel like games that you can see your character developing in front of you and give you that sense of something is working, I'm having fun leveling my character, I'm having fun developing this character, that's what keeps us grasped to a game. Not racing to the level cap, not I can't even figure out what I'm trying to say, not like mindlessly grinding out hundreds of mobs, not like having dungeons every so often and them giving you loot that doesn't even matter. Just being able to see your character develop in front of you and having that sense of progression is what you need. Sure, at some point, even in RuneScape, even in Mobby, there's a point of where you hit a cap of progression, right? Where you can't go anymore. There's a place where you get to the absolute level cap in RuneScape and the absolute cap in Mobby, but depending on which path you took in those games, your progression still goes. Your path of your character still goes. Whether you played Fashion Ogi and your idea was to have like the best perfectly dyed colored outfit you wanted, in the perfect colors. That's like someone's Fashion Ogi goal. or in combat wise, where your goal was to get like rank 1 in all the skills you used, you know, there's progress. And then when you hit that cap, then you might have issues, you know. But we've not been able to find a game that has that same type of, you know, progression system, that same type of grasping gameplay like these last 2 games, at least me personally. And that's why I haven't really been uploading any, you know, MMO videos to the channel. Despite playing Hero Wars, despite playing Warframe, you know, both of these games as of right now have not really grasped me completely into committing to record to them. And it's not the game's fault, it's probably my fault. But at this point, after being spoiled for MMO choice for like 11 years or so, or however long it was, it's kind of hard to dive back into an MMO nowadays. You know, that's the whole reason why I still play League, is because even though League's repetitive and it's the same thing over and over and over, there's like a weird sense of progression in League too, in the fact that I can keep getting better on a single character or multiple characters, and, you know, have fun doing it that way. You know, I can see myself getting better. Is there a point to getting better in League? No, not really. I mean, there's ranks, and you can see your rank go up, and I guess there's a sense of progression that way, and I can play with friends, so I guess again that helps. But nowadays there's not really many MMOs that I can play with friends and have everybody have fun, because at the end of the day, I want to have fun with the group still. You know, I miss the old days when we were able to party up in Mobby and not have to worry about, you know, someone not having fun, because it was literally a fun game. But there's really no games nowadays that do that, and I know this is a really roundabout way of talking about it, you know, and I've drug it out for 11 minutes now, but it's the truth. And it sucks that we haven't been able to find another game. You know, we've got all these games, you know, thinking that we're coming out, and all of a sudden we're like, oh yeah, this is the game I want to play, this is the game I want to play. A lot of the games that I thought were going to be good ended up not interesting me that much. I mean, you know, there's some exceptions, but you know what I mean. Just, I feel like I just need time, or I need to be able to find that perfect MMO. It's out there somewhere, but it ain't here yet. So anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about this morning. You know, I like to talk about things, get it off my chest and such. So I won't bore you guys any longer. I know I've repeated myself so many times now, but thank you guys for tuning in and watching me blab this morning. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys next time. So thank you guys for your time, thank you for your support, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time, or I guess later on with the more Pokemon videos. See you then.